long time no see. I mean, hopefully it's only been a week. We are hoping for consistency. Yeah, going to do another weekly vlog-ish. It is Thursday, April 17th. That reminds me, I need to wish some people happy birthday. But it is April 17th, and I have just wrapped up filming the previous weekly vlog. So we're starting this one. I guess we call them weekly, but they're kind of like partially weekly. Anyway, so today I need to get ready. We are going to finish the Houston book crawl. By finish, I mean get 10 bookstores, because that's the requirement for the raffle. And for those of you who don't know, Houston is a rather large city, both physically and demographically, but some of these bookstores are just over an hour away. So we're gonna hit the last two that are like within like a 30-minute drive of us today, and then at least we've succeeded. Who knows, we may like pick up another one here or there, because this is going on till the 30th of April, but at least we'll get these two in. So that's exciting. I already put my sticker that I got yesterday on my little day planner here, which I'm bringing out because I really need to get my butt in gear, because we have a lot of things that we need to do within the next week-ish. But also, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, if you're new here. We do bookish, nerdish things here, kind of a combination of things. Right now we're getting back into reading, which is good. I did, if you watched my last vlog, if you didn't, I finished Immortals by Su Lin Tan, and so I was trying to find another book. I'm more of a night reader, like reading before bed. That's typically when I will definitely find some time to read, as long as we go to bed at a reasonable time. I'll usually read for like an hour before bed to get off my phone. That's kind of how I got back into reading in general, was trying to get off my phone at night. Did not succeed last night. It's not good last night, but that's okay. That is okay. So I was really struggling to figure out what I wanted to read next. We got a lot of new books from our book crawl, but I also was like, I don't want to just, because Immortals was a brand new book and I read it, and now, you know, there are still plenty of books on my shelves that are on my TBR that were older that I have not read. So I was contemplating what I should read and couldn't really come up with anything, so I couldn't decide. So I took out the reading prompt cards that I got from an Illumicrate box a hot minute ago. You need my help? One second. So I pulled a card from this little reading prompt card set that they had in one of their boxes. Some of these are good, some of these, I won't lie, the first one that I pulled is like your oldest book on your TBR, and couldn't be me to know which book that is. So I was like, we'll try again. And then I pulled a book with vampires. Yes, so I pulled a book with vampires. I did just pick up Fledgling from Octavia E. Butler from Kindred Stories, which I mentioned in my last vlog is a Black-owned bookstore here in Houston that focuses on Black voices and Black artists, which is super cool. So I did pick that book up, but as I said, I have a lot of books on my shelf that have been on my shelf longer. So I decided to pick a book that has been on my shelf longer, and I decided to continue on in the Kim Harrison series, the Hollow series, following, oh Lord, what is her name? Rachel Morgan. Wow, okay. Following Rachel Morgan, who is like a witch in this, the Hollows, where vampires and other monsters kind of live and things like that. If you remember, for those of you who've been around, I did get some free books from Dragon Con that were later in the series. I've never read this series before. And so I decided, oh, maybe I will dive into this long series, since I have caught up on the Dresden Files. And I've been rereading some of like the older urban fantasy book series that were popular like when I really got into reading in my teens. So I decided, why not try a little Kim Harrison. She is a frequent attendee of Dragon Con, and I did read this first one back in 2024. I think I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I meant to do like a spoiler vlog on this, and I did not. So maybe I'll do like a spoiler vlog for the second one. I don't know. I don't have any notes on it. It was fine. It was fun. It was, I mean, the first Dresden Files Stormfront, I think I also gave 3 stars. So, I mean, you're establishing things. A lot of times, like, these authors were pretty young authors when they started here. So, I don't know if that was the case with Kim Harrison, but a lot of times they were pretty young authors when they started writing these. So, you know, we're working out kinks. We're working out kinks. So I decided to pick up the next one in the series, which is already by my bedstand, so I don't have it. It's The Good, the Bad, and the Undead. And yeah, thought this was a pretty like easy read, you know, so even though it was like 400 something pages, so I'm gonna keep going with these. I did grab like the first 6 or something on Pango for a really decent price. I think I got it for like 20 bucks. So we'll just keep working our way through the series, see how things go. I've also thought about, I really want to get into bookbinding at some point. So I've thought about, you know, maybe trying to do a rebind on these, because like these books just get old, you know, these paperbacks just, they get old, girl. It's a struggle. But that is what we're reading. Like I said, I think I'm gonna get my life together a little bit, write down what I need to do so I don't forget, and then yeah, I will check in with y'all later. Yep. Hello. It's been a minute since we checked in. I feel like my head is cut off. That better? That's a little bit. It's been a minute since we checked in on this end of April monthly vlog kind of thing I've sort of committed to. But we've done some reading and we've done some flopping. And as you would have seen, I also went and saw Sinner's Day with Karen and popped in for the tail end of a Bridgerton-inspired brunch, which I was sad that I missed a good majority of it, but it was still nice to, you know, get a little dressed up and go for a sec. So, let's talk about these books first, because I think we're gonna get through this pretty fast. So, let me grab the physical book that I have. So, as you know, where did that thing go? Had pulled a TBR card because I was just feeling uninspired when it came to what book I wanted to read next, and I happened to pull a book with vampires, which I thought was great because I had intended on seeing Sinners, and so I was like, vampire book, you know, kind of be in the same vein. But the first book I picked was The Good, the Bad, and the Undead by Kim Harrison. It's the second book of the Hollow series. I'm done. Second book and I'm done. Honestly, like, there are so many things about this series that I just am not jiving with. A lot of them are the characters though. I really don't like Rachel, who's our main character. I find her to be a bit annoying. And then I really don't like her roommate, Ivy, and their whole relationship and this constant conversation about vampire dominance and all of this kind of stuff. I just feel like it's too early for me in a series to be having these kind of discussions. I wanted us to build some cases. You know, we can lay some groundwork for other things, but it just wasn't working for me. I just find like this whole setup, and I went ahead and looked. Excuse. Yeah. Hunkins is feeling better. I don't know if I mentioned, but she had a little bit of an upset tummy on Thursday because she had a bad hairball, but she seems to be doing a lot better now. I took her to the vet. They gave her some anti-nausea medication, which I think just allowed her to kind of recoup. And so she had a good day of rest, and she finally seems to be completely back to herself, which we're excited about. Very excited. So I'm happy that she is jumping around while I'm trying to film. But yeah, the only character I really like in this book is Jenks, who is a pixie, part of their org, and I just don't really care what happens. And I looked into what the one character, Ivy, who I'm not really a big fan of, and just to see like what happens later on in the series, to see if it was worth me playing with. So I don't think the series is for me. So that was the first vampire book. Then on Friday night, I have had the ebook of the Empire of the Damned? Empire of the Vampire. I think Empire of the Damned is like the next book in the series, and I've been interested in reading this series. It's by Jay Kristoff. The synopsis of this is, it's actually quite long, but really what we have here and what I wasn't expecting is that the story is told in a interview kind of way. I know some people say it's like a different take on, like, someone said like was The Witcher meets Interview with the Vampire or something like that. And I guess that's true. So I wasn't expecting this interview style, and I feel like the character Gabriel de Leon really is like Geralt from The Witcher, but I don't like him as much as I like Geralt. I find him to be, I don't know, I think the writing style's not jiving with me really. It's just not, there's just something that's not working for me. And I got through like 10% of the book and realizing it's like 700 pages. And I think it was just really not the vampire book I was looking for. So I am also DNFing that vampire book very, very early, which means that I should have just went with the vampire book that I kind of thought of reading, but I was like, no, let me go to things that are older on my shelves or my ebook shelves. But we're gonna go with Fledgling. The Fledgling by Octavia. No. Yeah. We're gonna go with The Fledgling, or no, with Fledgling by Octavia E. Butler. So I have also seen on Bookstagram that some people have recommended this if you saw Sinners. So I think it will pair well. The back of the book reads that Shori is a mystery. Seemingly a young girl, she wakes up alone in the woods with critical wounds and traumatic amnesia, only to learn she is actually a 53-year-old vampire, the lost child of an ancient species that is driven by blood and lives in dark symbiosis with humanity. Genetically modified to be able to walk in the daylight, Shori must use her rare gift to uncover whatever she can about her old life and figure out who wants to destroy her and the rest of her kind. So interesting. For the blurbs, we got a startlingly original story about race, family, and free will, compelling, tough-minded meditation on otherness, a finely crafted character study, a parable about race, and an exciting family saga, exquisitely moving fiction. Butler has created a new vampire paradigm and given a tired genre a much needed shot in the arm. So those are just some of the blurbs from this one. So I think we're going to go ahead and pick up Fledgling. Hopefully it will hit more than my other two selections and we can actually mark off a book with vampires from this card, and it will kind of fill that need that I had because I was excited for vampires. I know some people say the genre is tired. I've always really liked vampires. Even though I was terrified of them as a child, like terrified. But put my little Kindred Stories bookmark on here, and that is what we will pick up today and kind of move on from these other two vampire books, which were clearly not doing it for me. Sinners. I know a lot of people have been talking about it. I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler free as possible. You know, if you don't want to know anything about the movie, I'll like put a timestamp here for like mild spoilers about the movie Sinners, but I thought I'd just talk about it just a little bit. Outside of some of the more historical context, I think just the vampires in it, I appreciated that there were some differences, I think, between how these vampires were depicted and how they're depicted in, you know, literature and things like that, and how they're portrayed. But I could appreciate that when it came to the rules overall, for the most part, they really stuck to like traditional vampire rules. They can't come out in the day. They can't have garlic. They can be staked. Fire kills them. You know, staking and fire, best way is to get rid of a vampire. They can't enter a place without being invited in. Those kind of things. So I did appreciate that we kind of just stuck to like old school rules when it came to, you know, the monster rules of the movie. I thought that was fun because like a lot of times we've like are bucking the genre to do something different, but I kind of like that they harkened back to some of those old school rules and then gave a spin on other parts of the vampire monsters in this movie. And so I thought that was really fun, and I think it was a good balance on it. So I don't know, it was interesting because I do think it is horror, but not just horror. I do think that, like I said, there was a lot of joy and happiness depicted in this movie, and I also think that the ending was different than I thought it was going to be, and I appreciated what the writer decided to do with the story. So overall, thoroughly enjoyed Sinners. It was really one of the first movies of this year that I've been like, yes, I want to go see this. I'm excited. So I'm really happy that I got to see it today. And yeah, like I said, just giving some updates here. Tomorrow, I don't know what we'll be doing the rest of the day or even tomorrow, but I do know on Tuesday we will be doing some fun things that I'll take you for. But hopefully before the end of April, we can finish Fledgling. So at least I can tell you about Fledgling and maybe give you some reasons why you might want to read this book if you like the movie Sinners. So we'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop here because I feel like I'm rambling a bit, and I will check with you in a little I will check with you later. Hello. It is, oh, don't mind my pile of laundry there. It is Tuesday, April 29th. I'm about to head to the gym to go walk on the treadmill and possibly listen to the house switch because I got that from Libby. I got it from my library. Hold on. Putting on one of these silicone rings since I'm going to the gym. And I have a PT appointment a little later, so I'm just gonna walk because I have a long drive to downtown Houston, so I want to try to get things loosened up. But yeah, I got the house switch on Libby, which is funny because I said I was going to unhaul the book and then I got the audiobook, so I'll still get to read it, but I haven't unhauled the book yet, so maybe I'll really love it and not want to get rid of it, so we will see. But I'm so mad. I started reading The Fledgling last night. I left it on my nightstand and I accidentally knocked my water over. It's so unfortunate. I will only have like an hour. Well, I guess I'll have more than an hour. I don't know. I'm really craving a London fog, so I might go get a London fog for lunch after the gym and sit and read for a little bit. So if I do that, I want to bring The Fledgling. And then, yeah, who knows if I'll listen to the house switch. I may end up listening to a podcast way out, but I wanted to check in. And yeah, I'll be checking in a little bit later. Switching up the angles. Hello, it is April 30th, last day of the month. Feels like we've been in April for a hot minute. A lot of things have happened. Updates for you from yesterday, because I didn't do many updates with you. We did, I needed to post this today. We did get a cute little notebook here. To get a cute little notebook that happened to match with this random book I found at my local bookstore yesterday, which just like really stuck out for me. Like this teal with the off like yellow and the white trees. Like this is just excellent work. Like this really grabbed my attention, and it is like a cozy horror mystery by Tanya Huff, who is an author who's done a lot of fantasy. So I'm very interested. I don't think I've ever read anything by Tanya Huff, but I'm familiar with the name. She's been in the space for a long time. But it is set in a town called Lake Argon. And they basically made a deal with what appeared to be, I would imagine, are Eldritors, just from the Cthulhu-esque looking thing on the cover. And essentially, there's a visitor who goes missing, and his family sends a private investigator. And so we have a town baker and part-time servant of the Dark Force to basically make sure this PI doesn't figure out what's going on with everything. It's supposed to be queer, it's supposed to be cozy, it's supposed to have some horror, and it happens to match this notebook perfectly, which the lovely bookseller pointed out to me because I didn't even realize, and I thought that was really, really funny. So we did pick these up yesterday. I'm excited to read this at some point in time. I don't know when, but they're calling this urban fantasy, but this was in the horror section. So I don't know, kind of a genre clash. But I am excited to read this at some point. Other updates. So, I showed you this yesterday briefly, that I spilled water on the back of my copy of Fledgling. This is what I get for having books on my nightstand. It's the very end portion of it, but I'm sad about it. But I'm about just 3 chapters in on Fledgling by Octavia E. Butler. And okay, so I like the book. I like her writing, but I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this in a quick amount of time because it is some pretty heavy stuff already going on in this book, and we're only 3 chapters in. And so, like, I was a little uncomfy with the insinuations of our first character we're introduced to, outside of our main character, Shori. I am going to read this slowly because I do feel like it's going to be a bit heavier than what I'm typically in the mood for, especially at the moment. So I want to keep reading this, but this is not going to be like 2-3 days finished, even though it is fairly short. So that's my update on this. So we'll keep reading this in chunks, and I will let you know once I've finished it. I picked up an audiobook. Did I mention this yesterday? I might have mentioned this yesterday. So yes, I did mention this yesterday. So I started listening to The House Witch on Audible, not on Audible, on audiobook on Libby. It is a chunky book, which we know because it's still on my shelf over here. It is a fairly chunky book. So it says 17 hours. I usually listen at exactly 2.35 speed. That's like my sweet spot. Sometimes if there's accents, I have to, like, really intense accents, I have to slow it down, but this is fine. So I was listening to that because I had like an hour and 2-hour drive there and back for my appointments in Houston. And so I listened to a fairly good chunk, about almost 30% of the way through. I'm liking it. I can see, I should go back and watch Katie's from Katie Marie Reed's vlog when she talked about this, because I think she mentioned this too. The style of writing is interesting. It's a lot of, like, there is a lot of telling with this, but we do have a lot of characters, and a lot of things are coming up. We're still centered around Finn, who is the house witch, working for this kingdom as the chef. That is our main point, but hello, did you go get some lunch? That is the main point of the book thus far. Things are starting to unravel, but we're getting like a lot of characters and a lot of different pieces going on. There, I could see, like, I definitely think doing this audiobook wise was probably the smart choice, because I do think that the writing style would bother me if I were just reading it with my eyeballs. So I think listening to it, it's bothering me less. So yeah, I do think, like, if I hadn't been listening to this in audiobook, I probably would have DNF'd it already. I also just got, which I was surprised, but I just got Kiki's delivery service. So I had an idea of doing some more audiobooks and crafts, which I'm going to talk about in our kind of resetting for the second half of the year situation and trying to figure out what we want to do, because I have a lot of crafts that I want to get done, and I'm finally like, my body's starting to feel good again. I'm starting to feel better than I was like earlier this year. So that's good, meaning I have more energy and I can do more of these crafts. I have quite a few in my bucket, in my repertoire. So I mention this because today I got Kiki's delivery service. Unfortunately though, Kiki's delivery service is only like 5 hours audiobook wise. And that means it's not gonna be much time, but I could start off with that. And this might be just like going longer because I also put a hold on Howl's Moving Castle, and that's 3 weeks from now or so is what it looks like. I'm like 17th in line right now. And then I also still, I'm thinking like I could also find some audiobooks that are Studio Ghibli-esque to listen to and just kind of have that vibe. I think it's a really cool like spring summer project, because like even though Studio Ghibli is like cozy, I feel like when I think of the colors and styles of Studio Ghibli, it gives very spring summer, not giving a lot of winter. So I have that. I could also in that vlog read The Beast Player, because this is really pitched as kind of a Studio Ghibli-esque story. So could read that. Oh, just come sit on my lap. That would be nice. I would love that. Oh, yeah. Ooh, ooh! You're sitting on my desk chair and Vulcan jumped onto it and it just rolled. Here, want to sit here? So yeah, that is what I was noodling on. I went to go get a London Fog and a banana bread after I went for a walk. And when I saw I got Kiki's delivery service, I was like, oh yes, let's start planning that. So that was something we're starting planning. Anywho, yeah, so I started the Honeymooners last night. You know, with romance books, the reason I like to pick them up every once in a while is if I just can't seem to get into reading. They're really easy reads. They just flow quickly. So I had liked The Paradise Problem, so I was interested in trying out a couple more of her books. I will say, so the Unhoneymooners is about this character, names. Okay, Ethan and Olive. Ethan and Olive. And Olive is a twin. Her sister Amy is getting married to Dane, who's Ethan's younger brother. And it starts off with Amy and Dane's wedding. And essentially what happens is Ethan and Olive both end up not eating the seafood buffet for various different reasons. And essentially everybody gets like very ill from this buffet, and her sister Amy cannot go on her honeymoon because it was not a gift, like a prize, and so they have to go. And so basically Ethan and Olive end up going on this vacation together. It's a bit of frenemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine kind of situation, and they kind of get wrapped up in like this fake dating because they're supposed to be playing Dane and Amy so they don't get caught by this travel agency thing. And then like they run into people they know, and so they have to pretend to be like a loving couple. And that's kind of where we're at. Very similar in a lot of ways to The Paradise Problem, which I think is interesting, both in being like this one set in Maui. The Paradise Problem was on a remote island. I think the only difference we have here is like Ethan's family isn't like some uber rich family. So I'm seeing a lot of similarities there, which I'm like, okay. And it's okay. I'm not enjoying it as much as I was enjoying the Paradise Problem. But I don't think I'll finish that tonight. I'm about like 30% of the way through that too. I was reading it last night. So that'll probably be one of the first books I finish in May as well. But I think that is probably where we're gonna leave it here for April. I don't even remember all the clips that I have for this little vlog that I've been putting together of just like wrapping up the end of the month. But I am excited to dive into May because I have a lot of plans and things that I want to work out with you guys and just like kind of get back on track a little bit here. We got a lot of stuff coming on in the spring coming into summer. So excited for that. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here because I have a feeling it's going to be a little long. And ooh, listen, I'm trying to help you. I try to help. Come here. I'll let you in here. I'm almost done filming and then you can have this chair. How about that? How about that? But, so this is where I'll leave you. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this long vlog, feel free to put a cat emoji because Pumpkin is loving to be in the videos lately. So feel free to put a cat emoji at the bottom. And let me know how your April reading went. And if you feel like sticking around for more Bookish and Nerds content, I upload on Fridays. And until next time, I hope you read a good book. I hope you find some joy. And most importantly, I hope you do something to make the world a better place. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.